Welcome everyone to tonight's class on dogs and essential oils. My name is Jill Lebofsky and I'm an executive leader with Young Living Essential Oils. And I'm really excited tonight to talk to you about how we can make our pups chemical free. Why was this class something I felt like doing? Well, I myself love my dogs. I am a proud owner of a cute little 1-year-old. Let me show you him here. There he is. That's my Ollie bear. That's my Ollie, and he's a 1-year-old puppy. And I also, in my past, I've had 2 beautiful golden retrievers. And, you know, what I found was that oftentimes I treat them better than I treat myself. And I don't know if that's the case for any of you, but in many cases I know that we often will do for our dogs even before we will do for ourselves. And so I thought it was important to talk to you a little bit about how essential oils can be really helpful in keeping your dogs healthy, happy, and around, and keeping us happy for a long time. How did I originally get into essential oils? Real quick, 3 years ago I was introduced to essential oils. I'm a health coach and a Pilates instructor, and I've been using them in my own life. And then I started sharing them with my friends, my family, my clients, and we all just started having such amazing results. And we all started feeling better, getting off of our medications. In many cases, you know, people have found lots of different ways to use the essential oils as just part of their overall healthy routine. Myself, I had just always taken pretty good care of myself, but I had never thought about all of the toxins in our world that I was putting on my body and my personal care products, the foods with the pesticides and things that I was eating. I had paid attention to. I was eating organic, but I hadn't thought about the soaps or the makeup. Hadn't thought about the household cleaners that I was using. Hadn't thought about the detergents and all the chemicals that I was doing. So here I was doing all these good things for myself, eating right and exercising, but then unknowingly putting these toxins into my body, sort of negating all of my efforts. And it started me thinking about my dogs, and really they're just extensions of me. They're just extensions of us. And so if I'm being exposed to all of these chemicals in my products, in my foods, in my air, well, then of course they are too. And I started doing some research on essential oils and dogs, and in a moment I'll give you some nice resources for that. And I found that you can absolutely safely and effectively use essential oils on all your animals, but tonight specifically we'll be talking about dogs and essential oils. And tonight also I will only be speaking about Young Living essential oils. There are plenty of other oil companies out there, and you are willing to do you're more than welcome to do your own research on those companies. But tonight I'm going to be talking about using your oils in different ways that not all oils are safe to do, or that you need to do your research on to determine that for yourself, whether it's something you want to do. And that is the other thing as well. As I go through this class tonight, I'm going to be giving you some suggestions for your animals. Know your animal, know what you're comfortable with. This is like your baby. And so just like it's your baby, you really want to, only you know your baby best. So make sure that they're liking the oils as you're introducing them. Make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing and how you're doing them. So that's that. All right, so. And here's just some ways that unknowingly we expose our dogs to our toxins. You know, they lay, my dogs do at least, they lay in our beds and they lay on our couches and our pillows and things like that. And those have been washed in the detergents that we've been used. We give them flea and tick repellent, which of course is helpful and necessary. But there are alternatives to that, because that's just chemicals. And oftentimes, if it's given in the wrong dosage, it could actually harm the animal. That little golden retriever down there looks a lot like my Maisie did. My Maisie. Anyways, but we let them out in the yard frolicking. My husband takes my dog all the time on walks in the woods, we have some horse trails around here. And here, especially in Florida, a lot of our grass and everything is all sprayed with pesticides and fertilizers. Everything always looks green, but there's a reason for that, I always figure. So what are they getting all over their fur, all over their paws? They're then going home and they're licking. And then the foods, of course, maybe you try to use organic foods and so forth, but even those foods you need to look at. What are we really giving them? Are there pesticides in there? Again, what are the products? Are there chemicals added to their foods? Let me see what I wanted to, okay. So here are some resources of information about essential oils and animals that you can look up. The Animal Desk Reference by Dr. Melissa Shelton, DVM, or a new book, Essential Oils, Animal Desk Reference by Life Science Publishing. My disclaimer to you is that I am not a vet, I am not a doctor, I am just an animal person who loves her dog and did my own research, found a company that I believed in. Most of my material from tonight's class does come from the Animal Desk Reference, and I do, as I mentioned earlier, highly recommend you doing your own research. Just a couple of studies that I found that I wanted to share with you. There's existing research that supports the Environmental Working Group demonstrated that there are high levels of industrial chemicals found in pets and dogs. Companion animals are at risk for the environmental pollution. There's also a study that was found on PubMed.gov, and PubMed.gov is a great place if you're not familiar with it. It's the United States National Medicine Library maintained by the National Institute of Health, and there's just millions and millions of studies on plants and herbs and essential oils, and you can find things there as well. But they suggest that exposure to certain types of lawn care chemicals may increase the risk of malignant lymphoma in dogs. So essential oils can not only benefit your health and well-being, you can also, as I mentioned, make your dog chemical-free and feel great. So let's talk a little bit, for those of you who aren't familiar, with what are essential oils. Essential oils are the volatile part of the plant. They're often called the life force of the plant. In nature, animals take sometimes a beating in the storms, in the bugs, and the animals. And what happens, I always think here in Florida, we have these nasty storms that happen every day at 3 o'clock during the summertime. It's like a hurricane around here, and the plants and the trees and the flowers just take a beating for hours and hours with the rain pelting. And then it just all of a sudden clears up like it does in Florida, and the sun comes out, and those trees and plants and flowers have not only survived, but they have thrived. And that's because of the oil of the plant. It is essential to the plant or it will die. That's why it's called an essential oil. And essential oils are made up of the same building blocks as we are: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So many people believe that the same healing and protective benefits that the plant has for itself in nature, it can also, when we use it, do the same for us. Essential oils are extracted from all parts of the plants: the flowers, the stems, the leaves, the petals, and from citrus, the seeds, and the rind. And they enter our system very, very quickly. They're made up of many, many kind of molecules and these constituents that make them, that can work to make changes at the cellular level. So they're not quick fix Band-Aids. They're actually making, when used over time, making significant changes to your life and to your dog's life. They've been used since biblical times. They were used for the Greeks and the Egyptians for beauty, and people have always used them with their pets as well when you start to go back and do some of the research. Recently, at the University of South Dakota, a student received her doctoral degree for pioneering work in ethnobotany, which examined veterinary essential oil use. So really exciting to see that they're starting to do some testing on essential oils and animals and being able to use them in place of medications and so forth. So I feel like there's been a real shift in this world, for not only for us, but now also our animals. People are starting to realize, well, again, as I mentioned in the very, very beginning, what we do, they're exposed to as well. So we need to look out for them. So one way we can look out for them, especially if we're using essential oils, is to know that all essential oils are not created equally. These days, you can purchase your essential oils anywhere. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Bed Bath & Beyond, you can purchase them online. So it's really vital to know the source of your essential oils. And when you're talking about your animals and how sensitive they are as compared to us, how a little bit of essential oil can really make a difference to them if, in a harmful way if it's not something that's safe to use and chemical-free. So it's really important when you're talking about using essential oils on your animals to know the source of your oil. Just very, very briefly, there are 4 grades of oils, A, B, C, and D. Grade A is just the therapeutic grade oil, and that is what Young Living is, and it's the safest oil. It is pure and unadulterated, and these are essential oils with no additives, dilutions, or chemicals. And they are so pure that most of them can be consumed internally, and Young Living essential oils we'll talk about in a little bit can be consumed internally. Very important to read the labels and make sure when you start to head into natural or food grade B or C perfume grade, and definitely grade D oils, you have to read the labels. My guideline to that is if I turn over a bottle and it says do not ingest or do not use for topical use, and it's an essential oil and it says pure on the front, why would I not be able to ingest it? Why would I, if it's like, let's say it's lemon oil, or why would I not be able to put it on my skin? And if I can't put it on my skin and I can't ingest that lemon oil, let's say, then why in the world would I want to expose myself to that in an aromatic way and put it into a diffuser? So definitely know the grades of your oils. And tonight I'm talking, as I mentioned, just about Young Living essential oils. If you're doing your research, please do your research if you're using another brand. I personally feel 100% confident using Young Living essential oils, and that's because of their seed to seal promise. Young Living has been a company that was started way over 20 years ago and is the only essential oil company to own its own farms. And those we don't own, we co-op and we partner to adhere to our standards, and they are overseen very, very closely. Somebody asked me the other day, is Young Living essential oils organic? Well, the seed to seal has actually got much higher standards than the organic label does. So Young Living does not have on its stamp the organic label, but do your own research again on what that means. Don't quote me on this, but I believe something like only 10% of a product needs to be organic in that product in order to be labeled that. Where seed to seal promise, guaranteed by Young Living that what's in their bottle and only that plant or whatever they say is in their bottle is in it, is far better than that organic rating. And let's just quickly go through what the seed to seal promise is. It starts off in the soil. They use pristine soil, making sure that there's been no pesticides that have been sprayed in that soil. They use non-GMO, first heirloom seeds. They cultivate, is very important, when they plant their seeds, when they pick their plants, when they water, what time of the day it is, what time of the year it is, who is the person picking and planting. All essential oils and plants are energy as we are, and that energy can be exchanged. So very important. Another piece that a lot of people don't think about, and Young Living only hires people to work their farms who love what they do, and many of the people who've been on their farms for almost as long as they've been in existence. Next is distillation. Dr. Gary Young, the creator of Young Living Essential Oils, is also the father of modern day distillation. He created all of the distillation equipment that is used in modern day distilling of oils. These Young Living Essential Oils are distilled at low steam, which is important so that way you keep the benefits of the plant intact and then the oil intact. And they're also cold pressed citrus. They, after they are distilled, they are then tested in-house and then sent out to our labs all around the world for third-party testing. Any product that does not come back for our standards is either sold off to other companies or reutilized in other ways. For instance, peppermint oil can also be a natural fertilizer, so oftentimes they use peppermint sprayed on their fields. And then last, right there on the farms, the bottles are sealed right there and they're shipped right to your door. Very important that when you're purchasing Young Living essential oils that you get them from a Young Living rep so that you can guarantee the seed to seal process. When you purchase them off of Amazon or eBay, it's very easy to adulterate those oils and make them look just like Young Living by popping off the top and popping off and putting on a new one. So definitely when you're talking about your animals, please find a Young Living rep to purchase your essential oils from. All right. So let's see. Oil safety, very important to know. Now, I'm only talking tonight about dogs. Cats are like a whole other story, and I don't have cats. And do your research on cats. They don't They absolutely can use the essential oils, but they definitely have to be used in a much different way. So with dogs, you always want to dilute them unless they're a very large dog. Just like if you were having some kind of reaction to food and they ask you to eliminate, they use the elimination diet where you take everything out and slowly introduce things back one at a time. So it is with the essential oils for yourself and for animals as you start out. Introduce them slowly. I would say every maybe 4, 5, 6 days, try a new one and see what the reaction is to that. You want to look for any kind of allergic reaction like a skin sensitivity or respiratory difficulty. You don't want to force the oils on the dog. Now that's very, very important. My first dog, I didn't do essential oils, so I don't know what his response or her response would have been. My second golden retriever, the last year of his life, we started getting into the essential oils, and we used them with him a lot, and he loved the essential oils. I would open up a bottle of lavender, and that puppy would come running. My little Ollie bear, my Ollie, not so much as he loving the oils. He certainly is getting used to them because they're around and they're on us all the time, and they're in the house diffusing. But he definitely, in the very beginning, would back away from me. If I had them on, if I bring them near him, he would definitely run away. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but definitely do not force the oils on the dog. Very, very important. Do not use melaleuca or tea tree oil. It is toxic to animals. You want to avoid high phenol oils like oregano and thyme. I call them the hot oils, so an oil like Thieves would be considered that. They can be skin irritant, and they can also lead to toxicity. Often animals will lick their paws, and just know if you're using essential oils, it is okay if they are licking their paws as long as you're using a therapeutic grade oil, but definitely want to use them diluted. If you are using them in water, just 1 drop to a bowl and stir before the dog drinks it to avoid irritation. And that is one way that I do use the oils with my dog. But the reason why you want to make sure you stir it is oil and water don't mix. So if you let it sitting there and then he goes back, that peppermint is going to be oil or whatever you're using in there is going to be just sitting on top of the water, and then could definitely be overwhelming for the dog. So again, just put the water, put a drop in, and then if they don't drink it all up, I personally throw the water out after I've watched him drink. And that's why I feel like I know that it's not been sitting there and he's safe. So there are 3 ways that you can use essential oils for yourself and for your dog. You can use them first through inhalation. So that's using them aromatically, which is usually the way most people are most familiar with. And it's also a great way to introduce your oils to the dog, which is very important. I strongly suggest that before you start putting the oils on the dogs, that you get them used to it with inhalation. As I mentioned just a moment ago, rarely will a dog right off the bat love oils. Some do, but very rarely will they. It's something they have to get used to. Remember, a dog's smell sensitivity is way stronger than ours, so we really have to be mindful of that when we're talking about using essential oils around our animals. Something, in case I forget to say it later and it's on my brain, it's very, very important, is that never should you use, we're going to talk about diffusing an oil when you're talking about inhalation, using a cold air diffuser. And if you're using a diffuser with your dog, make sure that that dog cannot lock himself in the room with a diffuser by accident. It's certainly, what I was reading was that's actually more important for cats than for dogs. But in my opinion, they can't talk, so they need to be able to escape the room if it's starting to bother them in some way. So that's Jill's 2 cents. I don't know whether that's something that's necessary to do, but I just always make sure that there's a door open, that like if I'm leaving the house or something, well, actually I don't leave the diffuser on, but if I'm going to bed and he's in my room, I make sure that the bedroom door is open so he can leave if he wants to. All right, so diffusing, as I mentioned, is one way that you can do that. You can just use 4 or 5 drops of essential oils, whatever you would normally be using for yourself. And then they're going to be in a little bit, we'll be talking about some oils specifically for some specific issues to use for your animals. You can also just take the open bottle and move it back and forth close to the dog, but not right up underneath his nose. Even if you put it right up underneath your nose, it's pretty overwhelming. So just imagine what it would be like for your dog. So I just kind of wafted, a couple of times back and forth, maybe a foot or so away from him, and so he can just kind of get the smell. If your animal is jittery or resistant to the essential oils, try applying the oil to yourself and then just staying near the oil. So maybe you're like, you know, you sit on the couch and watch TV with your pup, so put the essential oil maybe on your hands and then just kind of give him a pet and see if he gets used to it that way. They do make doggy diffuser collars, which you can just clip onto your dog. I don't love that idea because they hang in the front of the dog and again right underneath his nose. I was told by a great idea by a dog groomer. She says that what she likes to do is take the essential oil and put it on their collar. Most collars are some porous substance. They're either that nylon or they're leather, and those can both absorb the essential oils. And just putting a drop on that, but putting it up on top of their back of their neck there, where it's away from their nose, and just putting a drop there on their collar so that they can be getting the benefits of the oil throughout the day. And then just observe your dog when you do have the essential oil on that dog collar and make sure that it's, you know, they're loving it. Don't put too many drops on his collar for the same reason as I just mentioned. You know, that's why, another reason why I don't really like those diffuser collars. You can also, which is a great suggestion, put the oil on a towel and toss it in with the doggy bedding when you dry it, so it kind of just has that nice smell. Maybe you put a little lavender oil, which we'll talk about, which is a great calming oil, and that will help when he goes to bed, or spray onto his favorite blanket or toy. So the next way you can use your oils is topically. Once they're used to them aromatically, they can really respond very, very well to topical application. For dogs, paws are a great place to apply your essential oils. And right here is a Doggy Vita Flex Points chart. If you're familiar with reflexology, all the points on your feet, your hands, and actually your ears all represent different parts of your body. And I never knew this, but doing my research, I guess it's true for the dogs as well. Their paws have specific points that correspond to different parts of your body. So you can see by this, if they were having any kinds of issues, maybe with stomach issues or the colon, you can put them on section number 5, the big part of their paw. If they're having some trouble with their eyes, maybe you want to put it on there. It looks like one of their pads or their second pad. So it's a great little chart to put them on them. And again, dilute when you're putting them on their pads because they will lick them. But they are absorbed very quickly, so they won't lick them off, if that's a concern of yours. You can also topically place the oils just on the tips of their ears away from the ear canal. You can try rubbing oils into your own hands and then stroking the animal's fur. They love a doggy massage. What doggy doesn't love that? Or belly rubs. Oh, especially if you got a real fluffy dog. My golden retriever, Mozart, even a massage never would have gotten to his skin. It never would have absorbed that way. His fur was so thick, so a nice belly rub was also a good way to get the oils into the dog. For large or hard to reach areas, you want to combine the essential oils maybe in a water bottle, and you can spray it for easier application, which is also good when they have a hot spot. And I'm going to give you a recipe for hot spots in a little bit, but that's a great way to get them on topically. And if I have this little puppy, as I mentioned, who does not love the oils, although he does love the massage part, but other than that, there's some things that I have to trick him a little bit. And hot spot spray, he does not like being sprayed with anything. So, but that's what I do. At least if he's on the run, I can catch him in doing that. And Young Living makes a product called Animal Scent Ointment that I will talk about in depth a little bit more later, but it also can be used on top of when you put the oils on topically. You can use it to seal and protect the areas where the essential oils have been applied. You want to avoid their ears, eyes, and nose. So when I said their ears, that was just the tips. And you want to consider the size of the animal when you dilute your oils. It's best if you start with a more diluted mixture and observe how the individual pet responds. Never dilute in water, as I mentioned. They don't mix unless you're doing it in their pet food or their water and you're watching. And when diluting oils, you will use a carrier oil. The carrier oils that you would want to be using are coconut oil. Young Living makes a V6 oil, a grapeseed oil, an almond oil, an olive oil. All would be just fine to mix with your dogs. And so looking here at the chart, you can kind of see how that would work for you. So as an example, for small dogs, maybe start with 3 to 5 drops. Be sure to dilute 80 to 90%. prior to application. So for example, for every 1 drop of oil, you would use 4 to 5 drops of a carrier oil. Is that okay? So let me repeat that again. For every 1 drop of oil, you would use 4 to 5 drops of a diluting agent. Next up is ingestion. So very, very important. Most oils are not safe for ingestion. For all the reasons that I've been talking about so far, you know that I feel very comfortable using Young Living essential oils for ingestion, but don't take my word for it. Do your own research so that you feel comfortable giving the oils orally to your animals. Some essential oils can be mixed in with your animal's food. In very large dogs, the oils can be dropped right into their lower lip by pulling it out. And you can all, what was I going to say? I guess that's it. So those are some ways that you can ingest, the dogs can get the essential oils. Oh, I know. You can also put them in capsules, a drop or so of the oil, topped off with a carrier oil, and mix it in with their food that way as well. So let's get into some essential oils and specific ways that you can use them with your dogs. So the 2 best friends of a dog are by far Peace and Calming and Valor. They're also for humans as well. They are Young Living's 2 best sellers. So if you get these for yourself, your dog, he just gets the extra benefit, or vice versa. For the Peace and Calming, the Valor, humans love it for themselves, for boosting confidence and for alignment. And for dogs, it's useful in all pets for fear, for behavior issues, and for training. It's also useful for skin masses, itching, allergies, and infections. You can diffuse, you can use it on cotton balls, or you can put it on topically. You can also place on the collar or on the leash. The Peace and Calming is a blend made with German chamomile. Yum, nice, beautiful, soft blend. It's used for fear and anxiety and behavior problems. It's used for dogs that get overexcited, or for car rides if they get overexcited. We definitely have an issue with my puppy with that. And I'm waiting on my car diffuser because I want to start diffusing some oils in the car with him and see if that makes a difference for him. He's happy, but in the car, but a little bit too happy, and I just get a little bit concerned. But I hate to deny him his car rides, even with the seatbelt that we have. You can also use the Peace and Calming with Valor for added positive change. The combination provides the calming needed, but also builds the confidence to face new stressors. So for those of you who have dogs who are high angst, let's say in storms, I mentioned earlier the Florida crazy storms. I was saying to my husband just the other day, that is the one thing I do not miss about my past dog, Mozart. He was insane for the whole summer. This huge, huge dog, 100-pound dog, golden retriever, and he would be like in your lap, shivering, wouldn't leave your side during a storm. And then when I learned about Peace and Calming that last year of his life, and we started using that, I would put it in the diffuser. I would put some lavender on his paws. We're going to talk about the calming effects of lavender in just a moment. I would take the Peace and Calming and I would waft it underneath his nose. I would do a massage with some Valor on my hands. And that dog, I was a believer, let me tell you, because I know what this dog was. I won't say that he was completely unannoying, but instead of being in my lap, he was laying on the floor and maybe still panting a little bit heavy, but he was calm. And I knew and as soon as that storm passed, he was out cold. So I highly, if you have any dog with any kind of anxiety issues, behavioral issues, Peace and Calming and Valor are really just 2 must-haves, in my opinion. So moving on, Panawe. Panawe is a wonderful oil. Panawe, that is the essential oil that you would want to use for the dog's muscles, ligaments, and tendons. It helps relieve their discomfort and helps to relax them. It's a combination of peppermint, wintergreen, clove, and helichrysum. So all oils very good for inflammation. This blend can be used alone or in conjunction with other Young Living essential oils that aid in general discomfort. You can use a moist towel over the area, which increases the effectiveness of the oils. And I thought that was a really great tip. So you put the oils on and then you put the essential oil over that. And just as an FYI, Panawe is an oil that you would only use topically. You would not diffuse and you would not ingest. This is just an only topical oil. It's the best blend for pain after an injury for the animal. It can be used for the acute injury, for osteoarthritis pain for the animal. It can be used for dental extractions. Clove oil is in it, and so that's another why that would be good. Clove is great for the dental issues. And also post-surgery. You can use topically in warm compresses. For those of you who are familiar with the raindrop technique, which is a specific kind of massage sort of technique with the essential oils, they actually can do them on animals as well, and they're wonderful for overall well-being and reducing inflammation, as we mentioned on those VitaFlex points and acupuncture and acupressure points. Oops, I think I skipped one. Nope, peppermint. So peppermint is a great oil to use in conjunction with Panawe. I suggest, if you can, getting a roller ball, about a 5 milliliter or 10 milliliter roll on. And what you would do is put, if you have a 10 milliliter one, is put 10 drops of this Panawe, 10 drops of peppermint, and 10 drops of copaiba oil, if you have that in your kit, or just the Panawe and the peppermint, 10 and 12 drops of each is great. And top off the rest of it with coconut oil. And you can, that will be a great way to, if the dog has any kind of, kind of limping or pain or issues, it would be a great way to help them feel better. Its peppermint oil is also an oil that is used for overheating in, I wrote horses, but also in dogs. It provides cooling very quick. So putting a drop in the water will provide that internal cooling. You can also put the peppermint oil in a spray bottle, a couple drops of peppermint oil in a spray bottle, and spray it onto your dog. Put it on a wet towel, a cold wet towel, the peppermint oil, and just lay it on top of the animal. All of that would help to dry it, to cool the animal. And here in Florida, so I'm sure you guys, even if you're not in Florida, during the summertime, it gets really hot. And if you have your dog outside running around too much, they can get overheated. We need to be careful. So that's a really quick way, should that happen, to think about. Grab your peppermint oil. The reason why I use the oil in the water is for bad breath, and I definitely makes a difference. You can also use rosemary oil, would be great. Spearmint would be great. 1 drop, though, to a big water bowl, and go from there and watch how they react to that. And it can also be used in acute injury, since it's an analgesic and not infectious. So lavender oil, another incredible oil to have if you've got an anxious dog. It's for calming, great in the diffuser, great just having in the bottle underneath them. This is an oil that I used on my crazy dog in the storms, where I would mix it with some coconut oil and put him on its paws to go to sleep. Not quite sure why I haven't used the lavender on my nutty puppy yet, but definitely that's going to be happening soon. Trying that on him. I guess there's something about puppy energy. I hate to squash too much. But it is very gentle but not infectious. Combined with peppermint, it increases healing and decreases infection and relieves pain. They call lavender like the Swiss Army knife of oil, so it's great for any kind of skin issues that your animal should have. It's soft enough, mix it with a little bit of coconut oil, maybe some frankincense, and it'd be really nice and soothing on any kind of cuts or any kind of issues with the skin. It also repels parasites and has anti-tumoral properties. Thieves oil. So Thieves is one of those hot oils I mentioned, so you really want to make sure if you are using it topically that you are diluting it very well and that you're watching for any skin sensitivity. It's treated for injury with contamination out in the field for field dogs. It is because it's the strongest non-infectious agent. It's highly antibacterial. You can use it on minor skin issues, cuts, and wounds. It provides significant pain relief, as I mentioned earlier, particularly for dental problems because of that clove. It has anti-parasitic properties and is especially useful for ticks. I know up north people have a lot of issues with their ticks, and I don't have it here tonight, but I would look up, because we talk about all those flea and tick collars and those things that we orally and we inject into our dogs, and we can really start to possibly use essential oils in place just as effectively but much more safely for our animal. It can be used topically or internally, which means we can take it, we can ingest this oil, and it is non-toxic. Purification. This is, I think, for the human more than it is for the animal, but it definitely can be used for the animal. It is the air room neutralizer. So if you've got a stinky dog, my My husband always takes him and lets him go run in lakes, which I cannot stand because here in Florida with the alligators just it freaks me out, but whatever. Anyways, when my dog comes back stinking, and using the purification in the house is wonderful. I also, he brought him home a couple of weeks ago, not only stinking, but with fleas. And I had never had an animal have fleas before in my whole life and was not happy. So I made my own flea shampoo, which I will give you a recipe for that. And it included this purification, which is a blend of citronella, lemongrass, lavender, rosemary, tea tree, and myrtle. It is also good for ticks and mosquitoes. So you can spray it on your animal. You can put it in a little water bottle and spray on it. I recommend doing that actually with a little bit of peppermint. And you can also use it to spray on yourself in the same way. You can reapply without that fear of toxic buildup. Digestion. It is good for a healthy gastrointestinal system. This is the one for all things digestion. So if your dog is having trouble going or is going too much or has the runs, this would be an excellent dog oil for your dog. And they respond very, very well to this blend. Digestion is can't think offhand of all the oils in it, but I know that it's got ginger and fennel and anise in it, peppermint, I believe. You can also add some nutmeg or ginger to the Digestion for additional support. And this is an oil that you would want to use topically. So that would be a great oil to do with a belly rub with your dog. Or look up that VitaFlex points and go ahead. I think it was we mentioned that it was on the big pad, foot pad. So perhaps that's where you might want to put some. Digestion has a lot of oils in it that I would consider hot oils. So I would watch for any kind of skin irritant with that Digestion or Digestion, however you want to pronounce it. Lemon, yum. So lemon is a great oil. I use it in the house with the kids whenever they're doing homework or to wake everybody up in the morning. It's a great oil to increase awareness for the dog when you're doing training or with cognitive issues. So about 6 months ago, when we were going through training with our dog and I did a lot of work with him on my own, I would always have the diffuser going, and lemon was definitely one of the oils that I would use in it. Sometimes I would even just, again, waft it underneath his nose a couple times before we would start, just to get him focused, ready. And lemon oil was one oil that he never seemed to mind, probably because it's such a fruit smell that he smells often kind of thing in the house, maybe. I'm not sure. Lemon oil is also an excellent anti-parasitic. It's used for skin and subcutaneous issues, and it can be used topically, diffused, or you can ingest the lemon oil. So all ways that you can use the lemon oil with your dog. So respiratory support. This is one way that I have a great testimony for. With my puppy, when we adopted him when he was 4 months old from the Miami shelter. And soon after we got him, within the first couple of days, all of a sudden he was just sneezing constantly. I think it was sneezing, possibly coughing, but it was happening for, a day or two. And I kept kind of thinking, first it started off just like here and there, so I really wasn't thinking much about it. And then it was getting worse, and it was over the weekend, and the vet it was already after it was closed. So I thought, well, let me look up what I can do, see if I can help him before we get to the vet on Monday. So I opened up my bottle of RC and actually my bottle of Raven, and I had him smell both oils underneath, both oils. And a couple of times a day, I would just have him inhale. And didn't love it, but I would just waft it quickly by him and have him do it. And by Monday, that dog wasn't sneezing or coughing at all. So I am a true believer in those oils. You can also combine them. You can, as I did, you can combine them with the Melrose, which is Melaleuca and rose oil. You can combine them with the RC and the Raven to provide respiratory support and also for minor skin issues. Next up is the Ortho Ease, which is already a massage oil. It is already mixed with other carrier oils, a few different kinds of carrier oils, as well as essential oils, wintergreen, peppermint, juniper, and marjoram. And this is a great oil, especially if you have an older dog. I mean, they really love this, just to kind of give a nice massage on their hips, on their joints. The wintergreen is wonderful for that. The peppermint is an antifungal, antibacteria. The juniper helps to detoxify and cleanse. Marjoram is another one, great for the pain and inflammation. Just take a quarter to 1 squirt, rub it on your hands, and then just massage the area in discomfort. So those are the oils that Young Living has in their premium starter kit. But I also wanted to introduce to you the Thieves Household Cleaner, which is plant-based, completely toxin and chemical-free. And I personally think if you have any kind of pet in your house, it's only fair to them to have this in their house. It is a must-have. You use 1 capful of that large 14-ounce bottle. You put it, mix it in with distilled water in a 38-ounce spray bottle, or excuse me, in a large spray bottle, and you get 38 large bottles out of this here. And you can use it, there's directions on the back, but you can use it on your counters. You can use it if you're, use it on their bedding. You can use it on the carpet stains. I've used it on doggy vomit, if that's TMI, sorry, but it's definitely helped. When we were training the dog, the peeing on the floor constantly, but I didn't want to be spraying it or spraying the floor or mopping the floor with chemicals that I knew this dog was going to be putting all over his paws and then licking. So highly, highly recommend you get the Thieves household cleaner if you have any kind of animal. Young Living does have its own line of animal oils. It's called Animal Sense. It used to come as a collection. Now you can only purchase them individually. They do not come as a collection anymore. There's PuraClean, which is a unique blend of essential oils that work together that include cistus, citronella, lavender, lemongrass, melaleuca, mountain savory, myrtle, palo santo, patchouli, and rosemary. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. There's Infect-Away, which has a gentle effect on your animal. And there's Mend Well. There's something called Paragize, which would be similar to the Digize. Repel Aroma, which they would be enjoying, which would be similar to our Purification. Tea Away, which would be for storms. So we have that with the lavender and the peace and calming. So if you're somebody who wants you can either use your regular oils for the essential oil for the animals, or you can go ahead and purchase directly the Animal Sense collection of oils that was designed specifically for the animal itself. They also, I'll be honest, I've never used the Animal Sense collection oils, so I can't speak on them directly. But I do have lots of friends that do choose to use those, and they have had excellent, excellent results. They are also 3 other products. There's an Animal Sense ointment that is wonderful. Actually, a lot of people use that just for themselves. If they say it's great to use on their cracked heels and so forth. But as I mentioned earlier, it's great if you're using on any kind of skin issues on your dog. It would be wonderful for. But also if you're putting the essential oil on topically, adding the Animal Sense ointment would help to seal that in. I've used the Animal Sense shampoo. Love it. That's a great oil. A great shampoo to use. You can also make your own. And then the Animal Sense Dental Pet Chews. I love these for my dog. They are so hard, so they last a long time. They're probably, I don't know, I want to say like 3 inches by maybe 1 inch thick. And what I do is I actually, it's not easy to do. It does take a little bit of effort with a knife, but I do try to break them in half. And that way I get double the amount for them. For my dog. So it comes, I believe, with, I can't even remember, maybe he's 10 or 12, something like that, and I get to double the amount and last longer. And then when he's chewing them, they last him a while. Again, chemical-free, non-toxic. I know it's good for him. So here are a couple of recipes that I have personally used that have worked wonders with my dog. There's a flea shampoo, and there's also a hot spot spray shampoo. A hot spot spray. So the hot spot spray is just using some distilled water, some coconut oil, just a little bit. That actually is to help prime the pump of the spray bottle, and also helps to stick on the dog. And you can use that with copaiba, lavender, and frankincense. And then the flea shampoo, you can see all those different oils that I use in my flea shampoo, along with that apple cider vinegar and Castile baby soap, which is chemical free as well. And that's really become just the shampoo we use for my dog ever since the flea episode. It's just what I use every single time on him now. All right. So if you do not have a starter kit yet and you're sitting here thinking, oh my God, my doggy needs all of these oils, well, the best place to start is with a premium starter kit. For $160, you get your choice of those one. If you look at the bottom there, either a dewdrop or a home diffuser. And for a little bit extra money, you can get one of the little bit fancier diffusers, the Rainstone or the Aria. They are all wonderful, all cold air diffusers. The home diffuser has an intermittent setting, and they both, the dewdrop and the home diffusers have lights that can be shut off. The rainstone changes colors, and the arias, the bells and whistles, and makes music and does a whole bunch of things. The essential oils that you're seeing here and that we've talked about, most of these oils tonight, are all in the kit. You get a lavender, a copaiba, an RC, a Thieves, a frankincense, a lemon, a Panawe, a Digestion, a Purification, a Peppermint, and a stress away oil. So all oils, every single one of them can be used with your dog. So for $160, you're going to get your choice of diffuser. You're going to get the first 10 oils. For free, you're going to get that 11th oil, which is the stress away oil. You're also going to get wholesale membership, which means from moving forward, after you purchase your kit, everything you purchase for the rest of your life will be 24% off. All you have to do is spend $50 throughout the year. There is no monthly obligation to purchase at all, but if you do, they do have a wonderful rewards program for purchasing on a monthly basis, but you do not have to do that. You can purchase your kit, get started. When you're ready to reorder, you can do that. They do have also, if you're not quite ready to start with a premium kit and you just want an oil or two, for $45, you can get a basic kit, which will come with a stress away oil, but nothing else. But it will come with that wholesale membership, so you could buy whatever else you want for that wholesale price. So that's another way of getting started a little bit slower. If you were really focused on that peace and calming and valor, that would be, and those are the only two oils you wanted, well then that might be a way to start. You wouldn't get a diffuser with it, but that might be a way to start. And then when you become a member of my team, the Oils 365 team, you don't just get oils and then we say goodbye. You actually get a whole team of people absolutely there for you from day one, to support you, to teach you how to use these oils. We know that not most people aren't familiar with oils, and it's really a learning curve. We provide you with webinars like these, with Facebook Lives if you become part of our Facebook group. We have a new website where also we can get a lot of resources to help you. You can check out and buy for yourself this animal desk reference or the essential oil desk reference. I do both local and online classes. So when you get started with the Oils 365 team, we want to know that you're using your oils, you're using them safely for you and for your dogs. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at healthyu, that's the letter U, the word healthy, the letter U, at yahoo.com. And I'd be happy to help you with that. And thank you very much for participating tonight. If you were invited by somebody else to this class, then please, and you're ready to order, then go ahead and get in contact with them, and they will be happy to show you how to do that. If you found us on your own and you're ready to get started, then go ahead and contact me at, again, healthyu@yahoo.com. And I'm Jill Lebofsky. Thank you very much. I am so happy that you're looking out not only for yourselves, but for your animals too. And I hope they enjoy and would love to hear some feedback. Thanks so much. Have a great night.